today's video is another reading vlog, and I'm really excited for this one because I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be traveling the world through books. Each book has to be in a different country, and the reason I'm doing this is because I'm partnering with Anna Louisa for today's video. We're trying to focus on sustainability this month, and so I thought it would be fun to travel through books. If you don't know who they are a jewelry brand. I'm actually wearing all of their jewelry today. I never wear anything else really. They are carbon neutral, which means any carbon emissions they put into the world through their process of making the jewelry, they completely offset it. They also focus on water neutrality, and since I think last year they've restored 2.5 million gallons of water, so that is something else very important. Maybe most obviously, their jewelry is of very good quality, and also the styles aren't kind of hopping on trends or anything. It's very classic and it's going to last you through years and years to come. Yeah, they are sustainable in the sense that you don't have to keep repurchasing things. Anna Louisa also donate any pieces of jewelry that aren't perfect for selling. They actually donate it to women's charities instead of sending it to landfills. So yeah, if you want to try out Anna Louisa, you can click the link in my description box for 10% off. Their prices are super reasonable, and it's just really nice to support a business who is also really trying to be good to the environment. Now let's get on to the books and traveling the world. First book I'm super excited to start because I've had it for so long. I've had it for over a year and I've just been too afraid to start it because it's so big, and that is 1Q84 by Murakami. In all fairness, this book is book 1, 2 and 3 all in one, so it's not actually 1,300 pages. However, it's still intimidating, so I'm gonna force myself to pick it up today. So this book is set in Japan, in Tokyo, in, well, 1984 to begin with, but then worlds kind of shift. There are different dimensions, and this one woman finds that she's not in the world that she thinks she's in. A lot of the things are the same, but there are also things in history that are completely different to what she knew, so she kind of realizes this isn't my world. And then there's also a man who is a writer, and he's kind of ghostwriting for this 17-year-old girl, but I think their two paths are supposed to meet at some point. Honestly, it just seems like a very confusing book, so it's gonna take some time. Let's go to Japan.
Can you believe it? They call it family meeting on me. Boy, you're out of your mind. Do you know what you're doing with your life?
Let's talk. I've written a notes page on some of the things that I've just noticed that are irritating me. Overall, I really love it so far. Like, it is such an interesting concept that I've literally never seen anywhere else, and I do like the way that he writes. There's just a few things which I'm not sure about. For example, Aomame, the main woman, she feels very flat. I've heard a lot of people say this about Murakami, that he really struggles to write female characters, and I'm definitely seeing that in this book. She just feels so robotic. The thing is, little bit of a spoiler, Aomame is, I think she's an assassin, so I understand why she would have to be slightly robotic and emotionless, but I was kind of comparing Aomame to Lisbeth in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Lisbeth also was a bit of a vigilante, is that the right word? Someone who kind of makes their own justice, and Lisbeth did some things that she shouldn't have done, but she still had like a personality and emotion, and I don't know, she just had a bit more depth to her, whereas Aomame, I'm not sure if I'm getting that from her yet. I also think it's very strange that Aomame just accepted that she's in a different reality very, very quickly. She just thought, this isn't the same as this. This isn't the same as that. I must be in a parallel dimension. Like, it's the most normal thing. That was just a bit funny to me. I don't like the way Tengo and Mr. Komatsu both sexualize the 17-year-old writer so much. Like, just unnecessarily so. It's really gross. They're like talking about how tiny she is, about her boobs. It just grinds my gears. Along the same lines, Aomame is also sexualized for no reason. Like, to check that she was in the same body but in a different reality, instead of just like looking in the mirror or feeling her hair, touching her face, she was made to grab her boobs to check if they were still the same. As a girl, if I was in a different reality, my first thought would not be to grab my boobs. It was unnecessary and something that only a man would write. Oh. But yeah, those were a few of the things that did irritate me. But it's annoying because the rest of the book is really good. And I'm interested to see what happens in all of this, because we kind of are just setting up the whole scene. Not much has really happened. There's a lot of description, there's a lot of character backstory, but I don't have any idea where it's going. Finished book one. Okay, so book one is done. Finished in a very strange way. Also just a very Murakami way. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. I really enjoyed the book. Overall, it was good. 3.5 out of 5. For actual like technical writing, I'd say it's, I don't know, 4.5. But the actual story, you can tell that it's book one. It needs the book 2 and book 3 in order to be better. All that really happened was setting up for what is going to come. But also, if you're going to do 3 separate books, make them more interesting as standalone books. If I knew that that was the only book and there were no other ones, I wouldn't be happy, because there's so much unresolved. Obviously, like, it's a cliffhanger, but I don't feel like anything really happened in the book that had a conclusion to it. And usually if you're in a series, for example Harry Potter, I know that's really awful to compare Harry Potter to this because they're completely different things, but in each book something bad happens and they resolve it at the end, but there's still little things that are linking to the next book. It was also just so misogynistic. Over-sexualization of women, of young girls. There's 2 or 3 worlds, I don't really know, and they all interlink and it's quite confusing, so you have to pay attention. It's not just like a fun, like, easy read. You have to be invested, and I am now, and I will definitely read the next 2 books, but I'm not going to do that today because I want to move on to something else. I want to travel more. A good first book, but it's going to take me a while to get through the next 2, definitely. Okay, the next book that I want to read I'm really excited for because the author I have never been disappointed by. So the next book that I want to read is by Miss Taylor Jenkins Reid. Yay. And it is Maybe in Another Life. I haven't really heard much about this one. You know, the ones that you really hear about are Daisy Jones and the Six and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I've read both of those and also Malibu Rising, and I loved all 3 of them so much. I think it's about this 29-year-old woman who doesn't really have a career, she doesn't really have a life, she doesn't really know what she's doing, which is very relatable. And it just says she heads back to Los Angeles for a fresh start. Clearly from the weather outside, I'm not there. So that is where we are jetting off to next. I think I'm gonna head to my local coffee shop because I need to get out of the house and we're gonna read this there. Let's go.
You're heading for the coast. voices up ahead you. Who am I to let you go? You're a wrecking ball. Can you kiss me slowly? We can turn the headlights off. All our friends and all their voices.
I'm back home. So I'm like 50 pages into this book. I don't know why it took me like an hour and a half to read 50 pages. I do know. It's because I was eating my brownie. But anyway, about this book. So I was actually really shocked because I'm not going to spoil anything in the story, but I might spoil how it's structured. So if you don't want to know that, you can skip ahead. But basically, she's on a night out. It ends with a kind of, will I stay with him or will I go back with my friend? And you're taken down this one direction, but then at the end of that kind of chapter, you go back to the first decision and you take the other route that she could have chosen. But it's just interesting, and I've never read anything like it, which takes you down two different paths of life. Now I understand the title, Maybe in Another Life, because it's actually showing you what your life could have been if you made one decision and how one decision affects the rest of your life, which is terrifying. It definitely is kind of cheesy in that sense. After that Murakami book, I really need something like this, and I kind of like it so far. And I definitely relate to the main character who has no plan in life and moves around a lot, doesn't really know where feels home, doesn't really know where she wants to settle. So I'm gonna continue reading this. I'm going to set a little timer on my Forest app because I want to be focused. So I'm about 100 pages through this book now. I'm really enjoying it. It really doesn't feel like a Taylor Jenkins Reid book at all right now. The vibes I'm getting, honestly, is Colleen Hoover. It's definitely so much more like romancy TikTok book than I thought it would be. The other books that I read from her just seem so much more serious, and this is like, it seems like something fun that she kind of just wrote because, I don't know, she had a cool idea and she wanted to try it out rather than it being like something she really spent a lot of time on. And I don't mean that in like a bad way, because it's still like a good book. I don't know, it doesn't feel like she's invested like loads of her time into it. Also reminds me a little bit of the Matt Haig book, The Midnight Library. I'm just gonna get back into the book. Quite like how it flips between the two different realities. It's kind of weird how I've just randomly picked up two books that have multiple realities. I did not plan this, but yeah, it keeps it very interesting. The chapters are fairly short, so it's very quick. I'm already on page 200. It took me like a month to read 200 pages of 1Q84, so it's very easy to read. The book is getting a lot more interesting now. Bad things happening in both realities, which I like because it makes you think that whatever way that your life goes, yes, there's gonna be bad things happening, but they're gonna kind of happen no matter what, so you might as well really appreciate all of the great things that do happen. I don't know, it's very much like everything happens for a reason. Yeah, it's quite reassuring because it shows you that things can get better.
Since we're coming down
I just cried. It's not even like a sad book. At the end, they're just talking about how there's the theory of multiverse. Every single decision you make in your life, there's another universe where you've made a different decision. Even if it's just slightly different, there are infinite versions of your life. And it just made me think of all of the versions of my life where I'm not leaving Ireland to go back to England and I'm just staying here with all of my friends. I start crying. I'm fine. I'm not fine. I need to stop. I'm sure she's very happy. I actually leave next week. But this book, like, it is just such a silly little concept because you're literally living through two different versions of this girl's life, but it still really struck a chord with me. I thought it was a fine book. I'm gonna rate it like 3 out of 5 though, because it just did not read like a Taylor Jenkins Reid book. I wasn't really on the edge of my seat. I wasn't kind of waiting for that big twist or anything. It's fluffy and fun. It's probably the least favourite book of hers that I've read, and I still liked it. I really did not think it would evoke these type of emotions from me, but it did. I need to move on to another book that doesn't make me cry every 5 seconds. Okay, so I have some options. These were the 2 books that I was going to read, but I'm just not really in the mood for them right now. The first one is The Paper Palace. I bought this ages ago, but I haven't picked it up yet. No reason, just, you know, sometimes you're in the mood for a different book. So the whole story is over 24 hours. Love that. It happened in Malibu Rising as well by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It kind of makes it more exciting because why would you stay on one day if nothing was going to happen? So she's choosing between her current husband and her childhood love. I was going to choose this one because it's set in America and I don't live there. Just not really feeling that right now. My second one was this, Milkman. Wow, I bought this book in a charity shop. And it's a Shakespeare and Company book. That really cool shop in Paris that I talked about. Oh, that makes me really happy. Wow, okay, cool. I let someone borrow one of my favourite books, The Beach, which I had gotten from Shakespeare and Co. And he never gave it back to me. That kind of broke my heart. And now another one has come into my life. Back to the point, this book is about, oh, so we're in an unnamed city, hence why I kind of wanted to talk about it this video. Like traveling, you can be wherever you want when you're in your mind. So a girl is trying to keep her mum from discovering her maybe boyfriend. To be interesting is to be noticed, and to be noticed is dangerous. So why is it dangerous to be interesting in this town? I don't know, but I guess that's what is intriguing about this book. But yeah, once again, I'm just not feeling it today. Instead, the book that I want to read, which, you know what, I was just crying and I was like, maybe I want to read a book that's not gonna make me cry. I think this book's probably gonna make me cry. I'm, just sabotaging myself. This is The Time Traveler's Wife, and I thought this would be cool because, I've been traveling different places. I've been traveling in America and I went to Japan. Now I'm going to be traveling in time. A lot of you have told me that this is amazing, and yeah, it's just about this girl and this man. He's a time traveler and he goes through time and meets her at different stages in her life. So I'm going to start this book right now. Let's go. I am 81 pages through this book. I like it. I like it. I don't understand the mechanics really of like how it all happens and the rules. I'm kind of deciding to not dissect everything and look too hard for loopholes or anything like that. I'm just gonna accept that he can travel through time. You know, he's not gonna change the future, he's not gonna change the past, nothing like that. Because otherwise I'm just gonna start like overthinking everything and being like, that doesn't work, and then the story won't be fun. I'm very conflicted. Like, he's meeting her when she's younger but knows that he's married to her in the future, and so when she's like a teenager, like, it's kind of weird because he's saying she's beautiful and stuff. I don't know, I'm getting weird vibes. I mean, even the front cover is super creepy. It's this little girl in her school uniform, long little white socks and plimsolls, and then a man's shoes next to her. Doesn't really sit right, especially because he also appears naked. When he travels through time, none of his clothes or whatever he's holding, none of it comes with him, because then he could, you know, change the past by showing someone an iPhone and they'd be like, whoa, what is this technology? So he turns up in places completely naked, and then when she's a teenager she's like, I fancy this man, but he's like 36. He changes ages obviously when he's going to see her, so sometimes he's a year older than her, sometimes he's like 40 and she's 10. I do get the feeling that he just loves her. You know, if you see your best friend or your partner, you see their baby pictures, usually you're just like, oh my god, you're so cute, and I just want to like give you a hug. If you met them when they were younger, you just want to look after them because you love them in the future. I don't fucking know what I'm saying. It's really weird, okay? All I'm saying is it's weird, and I think I need to read more of it to properly understand what his emotions are. There's not a linear timeline at all, because we keep jumping from like when she's 20 and then we go back to when she's 12. So it's not like we're following her life and he just appears at different times. We're literally just emulating exactly what is happening to him, and you're just jumping through time everywhere. I'm really enjoying it, and it also flips between her perspective and his perspective. I'm not gonna finish this book in this video. The Murakami book at the start literally took me like a month more than that to read, so this video has taken me a lot longer than expected, so apologies for you guys having to wait so long for me to even upload a bloody video. I'm gonna try and do better. Let me know of any books that are set in another country that you really love, or are a little bit more conceptual like this and you're traveling through time. And thank you once again to Ana Luisa for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to click the link in my description box to go and check out all their jewelry. Thank you, Ana Luisa, and thank you for watching. I will see you in my next video.